The New York Giants won the Super Bowl in 2011, but things didn't work out as well last season, and they finished 9-7 and missed the playoffs. Now, 9-7 might not sound so bad, but remember, this team was 6-2 at the midpoint of the season. They had control of the NFC East at that time, and they just unraveled in the months of November and December. And when diagnosing what went wrong, it's real easy. The defense. This was a bad defense last year. They finished 31st in total defense. That's yards per game allowed. Only the New Orleans Saints were worse in that category. The Giants allowing 383 yards per game. That is not good. They were bad against the run. They finished 25th in rush defense. They were worse against the pass, finishing 28th in pass defense, and they gave up a lot of big plays. The Giants allowing 60 plays of 20 yards or more last season. Think about that. In only 16 games, they gave up 60 plays of 20 yards or more. That is not getting the job done. That's what happens when you combine a bad secondary with a pass rush that is not getting to the quarterback, and the Giants did not get to the quarterback enough last year. And that's a surprise, because in 2010 and 2011, the pass rush was the strength of this defense, and last year there was a huge drop-off. They totaled only 33 sacks all season, and in 7 of their 16 games, nearly half the games, they had either 1 or 0 sacks. So not being able to get to the quarterback is a problem. It's especially a problem when you have the type of secondary the Giants had last year. There are clearly problems on this defense. What's not so clear is how they plan on fixing these problems, because the Giants, they're not in a great salary cap situation. As a matter of fact, they were due to be well over the cap before they released some big-name veterans. Defensive tackle Chris Canty, linebacker Michael Boley have been released. Running back Ahmad Bradshaw, who led the team in rushing last year with over 1,000 yards, he's been released as well. But the 2 defensive starters who won't be on the team next year, a little bit more of a concern, because as we mentioned, the Giants were not good on the defensive side of the ball. Now, even after releasing all these guys, they're still only about $5 million under that $123 million cap. So not a whole lot of room in free agency. We do expect them to add to this defense through the draft. They picked 19th in April's draft. But will draft picks and maybe a couple of low-level free agent signings, will that be enough to improve this defense? It was so bad last season. I have my doubts, but I guess Giants fans can hope that this defense will just turn it on. Remember, in 2011, when they won the Super Bowl, through 15 games, statistically, they were one of the worst defenses in the league, and then they just seemingly flipped the switch. They played some of the best defense in the NFL throughout their Super Bowl run, and so last year, a lot of people thought that they were eventually going to just turn that switch, and I guess they played really well in their last game, a blowout win over the Philadelphia Eagles. But as we said, the stats were ugly. They never really did flip that switch. It leads you to wonder whether they can flip that switch, especially since there's going to be no great personnel changes and no great changes on the coaching staff. Now, the good news for the Giants is they have an excellent offense, top half of the NFL in every major statistical category last year. They've evolved more into a pass-first offense, which is why I don't think the loss of Ahmad Bradshaw, we mentioned they had to release Bradshaw a couple of weeks ago, I don't think that's going to hurt him that much. The strength of this offense now is Eli Manning and that receiving core. They might have the best tandem of wide receivers in the NFL with Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz. Cruz is a restricted free agent. He caught 86 balls last season, had an excellent year. Hakeem Nicks, of course, missed a lot of the year with injury. It's important they get Cruz locked up to a long-term deal. Martellus Bennett, the tight end, who was a big part of this passing offense last year, he is an unrestricted free agent, so they're going to try to lock Bennett up as well. But as long as they can get those guys locked up, we know Eli Manning is going to be there for the next several years. I expect the Giants offense to be one of the better offenses in the league for the foreseeable future. We mentioned no Ahmad Bradshaw, but David Wilson towards the second half of the year showed he might be ready to step up. They also have Andre Brown. Also, wouldn't be surprised to see them add a running back through the draft. But with a good offense, with a really good coaching staff in place, the Vultures have finally stopped circling Tom Coughlin now that he's won a couple of Super Bowls. You know, if the Giants can just upgrade this defense a little bit, and I think they might be able to, I expect them to be a contender in 2013 and beyond.